So good morning and welcome to Kitty Talks. We share inspirational life stories that empower you to create yours. And as you know, every week I have a very inspirational guest join me, and this week is no different. I have the wonderful Louise George, all the way from, are we in Richmond today?
Richmond in Surrey, yes.
Yeah, a Surrey girl like me. I'm born in Kingston
Yeah.
upon Thames.
Yeah, not far.
But for those of you that don't know, Louise is a transformational life and success coach. She specializes in brain integration and the law of attraction. And I really want to go deeper on what brain integration is because it sounds fascinating. And Louise is a brilliant example of somebody who's so multi-talented. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a coach, she's an actress, and she's doing all of those wonderful things. And life is just flowing for her. So Louise, welcome to Kitty Talks.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
No, I know we're just going to have a wonderful, wonderful conversation. But I would love for you to just kind of presence yourself. So just tell our audience who you are, what you're doing in the world.
Thank you. All of the things.
Yeah, it's so much.
Yeah, so much. But it really, so people always ask me, like, how are you how are you working so hard and doing so many things? But it really is me being me at this point. And we were just talking about that before we hit record, right? I'm not going to say it's easy, business and actually, it takes work, but at this point it's work I love. So from that place it flows, it's work in alignment, and I just feel really grateful and enjoy everything I'm doing. So it's a pleasure to, and it's something that I've created, I've co-created all of the opportunities that I have right now. So yes, that coaching business that I love, doing TV work as an actor, writing as an author. So yeah, managing all of those things, and I'm really grateful that I get to be that, because it took me a long time to get to this point.
Yes, I think it takes a few of us a while, but I'm loving, I'm just noticed behind you, you've got love the life you live and live the life you love, which I think is amazing.
Yes.
Follow your soul fire. So yeah, I'm totally with
my wall of inspiration behind me.
But take us back, because you said your life didn't always look like this. And I'm with you. Like, I know that I've created the life that I'm living now, but take our listeners back to what life used to be like for you.
Thank you, because this is really important. I think with online business, especially, people see the shiny result of, and don't necessarily hear about the whole journey, which I'm really mindful to talk about a lot. But if somebody just happens to find my website, or finished a film or a book or something, it might seem like, oh, that's just easy for you, or your life's amazing, or you're so lucky. Well, actually, there's no luck involved. It's very conscious creation. And if you had met me, it's about 12 years ago now, I was in a very different place. I had at that point I would have said a breakdown. Now I know it was a breakthrough, because I really wasn't living my purpose. I was struggling every day with being in my body, being on this planet. Like I always felt, my entire life felt called to something big, but I didn't know what that was. And so I found myself working in jobs that didn't inspire me, for people and missions that didn't align with who I really was. And yeah, that led me to depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and just complete despair of like, this is not my life. But I didn't know what was. I didn't know that, all I knew was, this isn't it. This isn't it. There has to be more. There has to be more. And I'm supposed to be doing something bigger. And I trained as an actor, and knew that was part of my dharma. I was meant to be doing that. But again, the stories that I had running the show at that point were, it's too hard. Get a real job. You can't actually be an actor. All the beliefs, that we take on that aren't even our own. Society's beliefs and expectations, other people. And so at that point, just over a decade ago for me, I was really in a place of despair. And like, I know I'm here for something else, but I couldn't quite get that. I didn't know anything about Dharma. I wasn't very spiritual. Like I didn't, yeah, so it's been quite a journey from that point to where I am today. And I knew at that point I have two choices. I can either stay here at rock bottom or worse, or I can rise. And something in me, and just hearing that and just knowing that, just lit a fire in my belly. I was like, right, I'm gonna, at that point it was a clawing myself
I
out,
relate to that.
clawing
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I was like clawing. I'm on the ground at this point, clawing my way up to and doing whatever it took. And it was spirituality that really was, so many different forms of spirituality at that point, and starting to take care of myself, and get to know who I really was, and start to like myself to start with, and then love myself. And it's been a beautiful, difficult, gorgeous, interesting journey of so many things. But I really, at that point, started taking a good look at, like, where I wasn't being myself, like where I wasn't taking care of myself, how I could create the life that I wanted, that I didn't even know what it looked like at that point.
It's fascinating.
And
It's
so go on.
fascinating hearing you say that you always knew you were meant for something big,
Mm.
because I've interviewed 90, you're my 91st guest.
Yay.
And it's really fascinating because myself, I had exactly the same experience. Like, from when I was a child, I always felt like I was supposed to be doing something big, but again, didn't know what. And it's a real parallel. And I'm sure our listeners as well, I'm sure if you're listening now, if you've got that inner feeling, then follow it, because it's true. It's not just coming from nowhere, it's coming from somewhere. And
Yeah.
probably about the 20th guest that maybe has said that to me. So I think it's just an interesting parallel, really.
Yeah, totally. From a child, I just knew. I was here for a purpose. I knew I had a specific dharma. And children do, right? Children and animals are just living their dharma.
I mean, very
and then
well.
and then we layer on all this shit that just unlearns. We unlearn, and layer and mask on, like, who we think we should be, as opposed to just following that intuition and that knowing. And so for me, the last decade or more has been, peeling back those layers, taking off those masks, like really remembering who I am, and getting in alignment with my soul purpose, with my dharma, and living it.
And was there, like you said, there was a period of anxiety and depression, and was there a particular incident that kind of was your breakdown that led to the breakthrough? Or was it kind of just a period and patch where you just felt out of alignment with yourself?
Yeah, great question. I honestly can't remember if there was one big event, and I feel I'm a completely different person now, that I don't even connect to that version of me anymore. But I know that it was a year of just complete despair, of just every day, like, no, to the point where I was I was on my knees. Like, just in desperation, like asking for help and praying, and like, just really, just despair is all I can say. Just really not, just completely so far out of alignment with who I am, the being.
Yeah, and I think it's a really valid point, because again, if you're listening to this, how we feel internally, don't push that off, because I think, so many of us think, oh, we're doing this job when that we're supposed to be happy, but actually I feel miserable, and we just ignore it, and we ignore it, and we ignore it, and we ignore it, until it gets to a place where we can't ignore it, or the universe shifts us into a different kind of completely different place.
Yeah, totally. At that point, the universe was like pushing me off a cliff. It was like, you've got to pay attention. I'd ignored the nudges and the whispers and the signs for years, until I was forced onto my knees, until the universe, like, forced me to stop and listen. And that's really what depression and anxiety is. It's you cannot continue like this. Stop. And so I listened, and now I'm so grateful, actually, for that, because I was also relatively young. I was in my mid-20s, and some people never get that breakthrough moment.
No.
or keep going even though they've been forced to their knees.
Yeah, absolutely. And because obviously you trained in acting, you were doing the acting, but where did the life coaching come in? How did that come into your life?
Much later, actually. So I've always been coaching to an extent. I mean, through acting, through other work that I've been doing. So as part of my awakening, my breakthrough, and I knew it was business. Like I couldn't work for anybody else anymore. Like I had to create my own reality. And so first that was a property company, property management and personal assistant company that I enjoyed, but it wasn't my dharma. It's just something that I'm grateful for, because it was a way of working for myself, of learning about work that I loved. And then it was a fitness coaching company as well. Fitness was, for maybe a different story, but fitness was one of the things that got me on my path of spirituality and self-development, like really starting to take care of my body. And then I trained as a fitness and running coach, and started a business supporting others in their fitness journey. And while I was training people as a fitness coach, I realized it wasn't about the body transformation. I was actually life coaching them. So I'd be training women mostly in parks, and we'd actually get into some beautiful, deep conversations, and they'd be looking for support with the things that I had struggled with many years before, with the depression, anxiety, and things like that. And I realized it's the mind, it's the purpose, it's all of the alignment pieces. It's not about their body. This is just an external thing that they're clinging on to, you know. And then I started looking into the life coaching, trained as a life coach, and the rest is history. It's kind of just evolved beautifully and naturally from that place. And the life coaching really started 4 years ago, when I realized that this is what the women that I was training in fitness were really looking for. I started sharing my spiritual journey, my self-development journey, in a blog originally called Bodhi Babes, which was in 2014. And the blog, then I had people asking me to support them with the things that I was writing about and sharing. So that's how the life coaching really first started, and it's evolved and developed from there to life coaching, business coaching, and now it's kind of gorgeous transformational coaching.
And you're a great example of exactly what I believe is that actually we go towards the things that we really enjoy. So you went towards fitness because that was the thing that you were really enjoying at that point. And then actually by doing that, the next piece of the puzzle was almost like unveiled to you, and it's evolved into now where you are. I think we're continually evolving, aren't we? We're continually evolving and stepping into who we're supposed to be, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't have this great desire to be a life coach. I was just following. That was the first time I was really following my intuition and following the calling and following just one step at a time. Oh, it was that realization that, I'm really loving these conversations that I'm having with women as I'm coaching them in fitness. And it was the mindset work, and it was the getting the self-belief and the self-worth. And so naturally that led me to life coaching. And I just kept following it from there. So the last 4 years of my company, it has just been a natural evolution, and me just saying yes, me just saying, oh, okay, and tuning inwards and listening to that calling and what I need to say yes to next. And so this is what I support my clients in a lot as well. It's like you having an idea of the vision of your life, fine, yes, but actually it's more about like what's right now, like what are you being called to right now, and just following what really lights you up, following those soul whispers, that intuition, because that's what leads to the bigger vision and the most beautiful life that is even bigger than you can imagine. Like what the work that I'm doing today in all of those areas that we spoke about earlier, I couldn't have even imagined that for myself. Really couldn't.
And talk to me about because obviously I know you're one of the modalities you work within is the law of attraction, and I'm totally with you. Like I tend to sort of put a vision out of what I want my life to look like. So 10 years ago, I knew I wanted my life to be the way it is now. Took 10 years, but it's here. And then that consistent action towards that kind of vision. But I'd love to sort of get your take on the law of attraction and how our listeners actually, if they are not satisfied with their life, how they can potentially turn their lives around.
So I shared a quote the other day from Albert Einstein that is, reality is just an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And that's it. That's it. That's the law of attraction in a nutshell. But to support people with actually how to apply that, everything that you can, everything in our physical reality everything you can see, hear, touch, taste, smell, like right now, is as a result of past thinking, of our past beliefs and focus. And so the great thing is, if you are looking around right now and maybe you're in a job that you don't enjoy, like I was just over a decade ago, or you're not creating an income that you want in your business, or just life isn't what you would love it to be. The great news is that from this moment, you can create a new reality for yourself. And it is by what you focus on. It's really being mindful of the thoughts that you're continually attaching to. And we can't always control our thoughts. Like we have, tens of thousands of them every day, every moment coming in. But you can really be mindful about the thoughts that you're focusing on. And that's really how we start to program ourselves. We start to condition ourselves for beliefs, and the beliefs will actually manifest in your physical reality as well. So it's a lot of mindset work, and the work that I do with my clients is more than just head brain mindset work. It's actually head and body mind integration as well. So really looking at what have the past thoughts been, what are the stories and the beliefs that have been running the show, and then reprogramming any of them that are not supporting the physical reality that you want to create. Really aligning yourself with the things that you want to manifest in your physical reality. And it's 80% energetic work and then 20% inspired action from that place. Really powerful actions that are aligned with that vision.
And did you, having worked in fitness, did you see the kind of impact on women's thoughts around their bodies as well?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I love quotes because they really help us to get into that place immediately. So a Napoleon Hill quote comes to mind, which is, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So anything that we manifest starts here first, with what you believe is possible. And you can push and force your way into creating your ideal body or business or anything. There is a way that you can do that in an old paradigm of pushing, forcing and hustling. Or an easier way and a much faster way to actually get into that place is to visualize it first. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've always done with my fitness clients and with my coaching clients today, is you've got to see it and believe it. And then you're going to manifest it so much more quickly, so much more easily. And anything that you can visualize first really powerfully and feel is totally possible for you. And feeling is the most important thing. Feeling what that your ideal body is like, feeling what your business looks like, partners, friendships, all of those things. If you can get into that visualization and really feel it, then you will create it.
And I'm going to share a little story at this point, because I've got a great story that backs up what you're saying. So when I was manifesting my husband, I literally decided, I think must have been 4 years ago now, decided, right, now's my time. I've got, I'm ready. And asked the universe for a sign that I wasn't going to be single for the rest of my life. And about 4 hours later, found a costume jewelry engagement ring in the park on the floor, which happened to fit my finger. Sounds bonkers now, but when you talked about feeling, I started wearing it every night in bed, and of course felt really loved. Yeah. So for all you single women out there, if you want to find your man, feeling loved with an engagement ring on your finger, even though it was fake. I think I met Matt, must have been about a month later. And the weirdest thing as well, Louise, is that the engagement ring I now wear was exactly the same, except obviously the other one was a costume jewelry one. So
love it.
The universe works in mysterious ways.
It really does. And it's anything, and this is different for, the law of attraction is different for everybody, I believe. There are certain things that are, there are universal laws, yes, but it's whatever gets you into that place, that feeling place, that, and for you, it was wearing a costume jewelry engagement ring, that got you to feel love, to feel like you were in that gorgeous relationship. Someone else, it might be going to a certain place. It might be certain self-care rituals and practices, or all of those things, but it's really what works for you. How can you get yourself? And so with my clients, for example, I get them to look at what do you want to have manifest in your physical reality in a year's time? So you, on this day in 2019, or whatever, whenever you're listening, like in 1 year's time, what do you want your business and your life to look like? And I get them to really visualize into that and journal on that. And then it's like quantum leaping into that. You don't have to wait 1 year for that to manifest. You can step into that version of you right now by being that person. So it's looking at, right, how is that version of you showing up? How are they taking care of themselves? How are they nourishing themselves? How are they taking care of their bodies? How are they taking care of their minds? What are their rituals and practices? How are they showing up in their business? So it's really about like connecting with that future version of yourself and being that person like right now, and just feeling like
Yeah.
that version of you.
Yeah, but that's brilliant, isn't it? Because you, by writing down what you want your life to look like and who you are in that as that person, then you can break it down a lot more, can't you? Like if you're fit, healthy, money, etc., you can break down exactly what the steps are or what you would need to be doing on a daily basis to make that come into a reality. And then of course that's a great framework for you to work around.
Yeah, totally. And sometimes people aren't able to visualize that as powerfully. Some people are like, yeah, I totally see that version of me. And then I have some people who are like, and I totally get this, I can't quite see that version of me. Like I can't feel it. I can't quite connect to them. And so then sometimes it's helpful to look at other people, like look at people who have the kind of businesses and the kind of lifestyles that you desire to have. And it's never about becoming somebody else, but just like looking at, right, that person has the kind of business and life that I'd love. So what are they doing? What kind of things are they doing in their businesses and lives that maybe you're not? Like, how are they showing up? How do they walk, talk, hold themselves? Like, how are they taking care of their bodies and their minds? What are they investing in? And so that you can look at, right, where are you not doing those things? How are they showing up differently? And one common thing that all successful people have is it's from the inside out. It's that internal reprogramming. It's really powerfully programming yourself to believe that that's possible more than anything.
Beautiful. And let's go back, because we talked before we came on air about kind of being ourselves. And I was sort of saying that I think you're a fantastic example of someone who's got so many kind of talents. I saw on Facebook the other day you were showing that you'd had your book published. It's a children's book, is that right?
It's a children's book.
Gorgeous.
Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
It's right here. Yeah. It's the adventures of Troy, the spotty rescue dog. Troy earns his spots. My first children's book. Yeah. So that's out this week. Really excited about that.
So a children's author, obviously actress, transformational success coach. I know you're a paddle boarder. I see you.
I'm a paddle boarder, yeah.
But talk to our audience, because we were talking before, weren't we, about how it took a long time for you to realize that actually it's okay to do all those things and you don't have to pick one.
Yeah, totally. And for so many years, even when I was, life was unfolding the way that I had imagined, I still had this old story running the show. If you've got to choose, like you've got to pick something, and that's often what we're told, right? Like I remember at school, even to, like GCSEs, you've got to pick what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I could never do that, because I love acting, I love writing, I love coaching. And for so many years, I had acting over here, coaching over here, business here, writing here. And I did feel so split. I was like, I've got to choose. I've either got to be an actor or be a coach. Like, I can't have it all. And that's absolute rubbish. You absolutely can have it all. And it's not about being an actor or being a coach or being an author or being a paddleboarder or whatever those things are for you. It's about being a fully expressed version of yourself. It's about embracing all of the things that you love. And actually, when I did that, I realized how much they all overlap, like how much acting and coaching and all of the things that I now embrace and do are all aligned. They're all really just parts of myself expressing myself, but also acting and coaching, there's so many overlaps. And so when I embraced the two things, I got to bring my acting experience into my coaching business to support women with exploring different character archetypes and really stepping into their confidence and their power. And I realized that, when I'm acting powerfully with a scene partner, it's about active listening and responding. And coaching at its best is that as well. And its simplest is active listening, responding, holding space for somebody. And when I got that, I was like, oh, actually, all of these things complement each other beautifully. And people actually want to work with me because because they see that I'm doing so many things. So I have a lot of other creatives wanting to work with me as a coach, because they're like, oh,
Of course, yeah.
I'm running a business, and I'm acting, or I'm producing, or I'm an author or writer. Can you support me in doing all those things? And so, yeah, like, it's giving yourself permission to be all of you.
Mm. Yeah, and that's another thing I don't think we're taught really from a sort of young age. We, like you said, we're taught we have to choose one thing and have to focus on one thing. But actually, being you is doing everything that you really, really love. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have to say I struggle with that myself, because obviously I do the kitty talks and the Dia Dharma stuff, but I also have a property business, and I keep like have another business, and I keep thinking, well, maybe I should just do one thing, and then obviously all my energy would be into that, and it would make it stronger. But at the same time, I love what other things I do, so why would I want to give them
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, that's it. And as long as you love it, that's the main thing. If you genuinely love something, if you're called to it, follow it. And if you look at, like, highly successful entrepreneurs, they don't just have one thing. They have so many different businesses, and so many different, they're investing in lots of different things. Um, I think that's just smart, and really just following the things that you love to do.
Things that
Um,
come naturally for us.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then we also touched on letting go. Like at the moment, it sounds to me like you're just in that beautiful flow of life. You've got opportunities coming left, right, and centre. For our kind of listeners, what advice would you have around the kind of letting go process?
Great question. And it's easier said than done, isn't it? It's like,
It
oh, just
is.
let go, just
It really is.
surrender. It's like, okay, well, and so this is something that, look, honestly, I'm on a lifelong journey with myself. But for me, most recently, I'm really feeling into that process more than ever. I just showed you the children's book. That is an
Mm.
example of letting go, because that's not something that um, I ever decided to be. It wasn't kind of something that I chose. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a children's author. Um, but when we get clear on who we be and how we want to show up in the world, and so for me, it was, I know I love acting and creating and writing and coaching. So I know that they're the things that are part of who I am and who I be. But then I really surrendered to what exactly that looked like. For so long, I was trying to, like, manipulate it. Like, I can only act in this way. I'm only going to coach in this way. I'm going to write for just my blog. But actually, in the last couple of years, I've really just opened myself up to however those opportunities present themselves.
Mm.
I know I want to act. I know I love coaching and running retreats and writing. And this children's book was a great example of just following inspiration. For me, is what letting it go is. Like, just listening to intuition and really trusting, even if it doesn't make sense. Write this children's story. Okay, that was an example of me letting go and listening to the universe, listening to my soul's calling, of just following whatever was meant to come through me.
And did it
And
flow then, the children's book? Because it just
I wrote it in 10 minutes.
well, that's pretty
And
quick.
it's very short. I mean, it's a very young children's illustration book, but yeah, I wrote it in 10 minutes because I just I let go to the control of how I'm supposed to be a writer, or how I'm supposed to be an actor or coach. And this is showing up in my acting career now as well. Like, I'm manifesting amazing opportunities because I'm just being really clear and specific with the universe as to exactly what I want to create and the vision of my life. And then I'm saying, but I'm open to how that looks.
Mm.
And I will follow the inspiration. I will follow the opportunities. I will follow what lights me up, one step at a time, one download at a time. And so that children's book was a great example of, it was downloaded. I had the inspiration, and I had to write it, like, right then. And I had no idea that it was going to be published and be available worldwide. That wasn't something that I chose. I didn't get involved in that how. I just followed the inspiration.
And I think that is such a valid point, actually, because when we kind of follow our highest excitement to the best of our ability, but with no attachment to the outcome, I think the universe just fills in the blanks. And actually, like you said, it can bring us things that we never even dreamed of, like exactly the book.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you just said that. That's really it in a nutshell. It's following your highest excitement, following your joy, following what lights you up. It is so true. So if anyone listening to this, if you take nothing else away from this conversation, like, that is it. That is it. It's just listening to that intuition, trusting it, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's like 2 pages of A4 in 10 minutes of something that you're inspired to write. Who knows where that will take you? Same with the acting opportunities now. I was filming last week for an amazing BBC series, and the opportunity came from seemingly nowhere because I'm open to being available and to saying yes to opportunities and to following inspiration.
Yeah. And I think it's a total way of being, actually. It's a real, what we're talking about there is a shift in our mindset, because it's just not how we're taught and we're brought up to believe or to act. And so literally, if we literally followed our highest excitement all the time, then, you know, the world will bring us an amazing opportunities. We just have to get out of our own way and half the time and believing it's possible.
Yeah, totally. And that's why, you know, the work I do as a coach is so, the like whole coaching industry is so powerful, like working with people. And it's not just working with coaches, but surrounding yourself with people is key. People who also believe that anything is possible and can help you to change any limiting beliefs or stories or old paradigms that just aren't serving you, in being able to follow that excitement, being able to let go and follow your intuition, and just the letting go part is just trusting one step at a time, trusting that it will unfold as it's supposed to, and knowing that your desires and your dharma are there for a reason.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, Louise, thank you so much. I'm really glad we managed to get the time to do this conversation. I know the people listening will have got real value from your life journey and your life story. But how can people connect with you? How can they find you? Where are you? What's your website?
louisegeorge.co is the website, and across social media at louisegeorge.co as well is the easiest way to connect with me and find me.
Nice and simple. We like it. But no, we
Very
will have
simple.
all of Louise's details in the show notes, so you'll be able to connect with her afterwards. But no, thank you once again for coming and sharing your story on Kitty Talks.
Thank you so much for having me. I want to talk to you all day.
Yeah. Next time it will involve wine, I think.
Wine, yes. Wine.
And in person.
In person. Dog walks. I see dog walk on the beach, followed by wine.
Perfect. I will take you up on that. But we will see you next week again on Kitty Talks. Bye-bye. This podcast was sponsored by my Do Your Dharma course. Create a life so good that you pinch yourself. This 8-week online course demystifies Dharma and shows you how to tune in to why you're really here. Go to www.kittytalks.com/do your Dharma.